UPSC does not work in a linear or a unidirectional way that if you prepare more, you get more marks.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you had cleared some stages before, then you might start from there. I know people. So in my first attempt, I got to the interviews. Second, I got the rank. Third attempt, I did not get an interview call. And I also know people who were applying with me they were already in service and did not clear prelims. Nothing happens, and then suddenly something happens. Because as I said, I had no struggle at all.
Okay.
Everything was well taken care of.
Okay.
I did not have moments of such extreme anxiety or stress that I said, okay, this is it, I quit. I don't want to do anything.
Right.
A very boring movie where you have everything right going for you except for the results in a few years. Engineering students, they have this lazy habit of bare minimum preparation. So how do you prepare bare minimum? You just stick to the syllabus.
Hello and welcome to Indian Masterminds. Today we have with us an officer whose journey reflects resilience, clarity of purpose, and the courage to bet on oneself. An IIT and IIM alumnus who cracked the UPSC not once but twice, Mr. Akash Verma chose perseverance, returning stronger after narrowly missing his goal and finally securing his position in the IAS. In the UPSC 2023 exam, he secured rank 20, which is a dream for many aspirants. Currently a probationer of Maharashtra cadre, his preparation journey involved bold strategic decisions, honest self-evaluation, and unwavering mental strength. From academic excellence to administrative responsibility, his story offers valuable lessons for every serious aspirant. So today we welcome Mr. Akash Verma, and here we'll talk about his preparation journey and experiences at LBSNAA and know his insights on how to prepare for UPSC in the coming years. So let's welcome him. Hi, sir. Welcome to Indian Masterminds. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Hi, Pallavi.
Yeah. So, sir, you cleared UPSC twice. First, it was in 2021, and you got, I think, Indian Defense Account Service. So, I wanted to know, like, why you obviously to improve your rank, but when you go into service, in any service, it requires a lot of time. So, how did you manage your preparation accordingly, and then you cleared UPSC 2023 again? So, I wanted to know that journey from 2021 to 2023.
Well, when the results came out, I was sure that I will be applying again.
Okay.
And but I joined the service, Indian Defense Account Service, and as per prior information, the service allows its members to give the exam again.
Okay.
And when I went to the academy, that is NADFM in Pune,
Mhm.
so we met director of the academy there, and director sir was quite supportive of this reattempt thing, because his philosophy was that we need good officers in the government of India.
Mhm.
It does not matter which department they serve. And sir gave us a lot of bandwidth for the preparation as well. So the training time was from 9:30 to 6 in the evening, and after that there was no disturbance from the academy side. So
Okay.
we could prepare after the training hours, and the weekends were most largely not busy for us. So the no training program was scheduled on the weekends, so we could prepare on the weekends as well.
Okay.
And we were about 22 people there, and 7 of us were preparing for the next attempt. So it was also a group of people who had already qualified the exam, and out of those 7, I think 4 of us qualified the 23 exam.
Right.
So a group of people who are already preparing, so when you prepare with them, and preparation, actually a lot of it was done by 2021. So all that was needed was a bit fine tuning and revision. So yeah, that is how we made time there.
Okay. And so now we'll go a bit back, like you cleared IIT and then IIM and then UPSC, that too also twice. I think in your first attempt 2020, you already reached in the interview round. So I
Yes.
wanted to know how this happens. Like there are people who give attempts and they don't clear, and then there are people like you who like ace almost every I think tough examination in this country. So how does this happen? What's the mindset which lets you to prepare and then give exam and then crack it also, like not once but twice?
Yeah, so there's a big disclaimer in your question as well. Almost. So
Okay.
I have actually given 4 attempts for this exam.
Right.
So this is not a cakewalk as what some people would think about it. Yes,
Right.
I am JEE and I am CAT. So that I had right from my childhood, I was being groomed for this. So my parents were always interested in me going to these great institutions. And my father himself had applied in IT and CAT, and he could not
Clear.
clear so he
Okay.
wanted me to do that.
Uh-huh.
What I would credit this to my parents' support. So a
Hmm.
lot of people I hear about their stories and the struggles that they had to face while clearing these exams or
Hmm.
getting into the IAS. But I'll be frank with you, I had no struggle at all.
Hmm.
So everything from housing, food, clothing, and transport and education, everything was taken well care of by my parents.
Hmm.
And after that, so once you've been told that you have to go to these institutions, you start preparing for it. So from 11th class onwards for IIT, and
Hmm.
then while in the final year for the CAT exam as well.
Hmm.
But for the IAS exam, so UPSC exam, so this I started only after completing my MBA.
Hmm.
And I realized, okay, let's first try what my parents want me to do instead
Hmm.
of my original preference for finance sector.
Hmm.
So that is also, I think, parental support and good guidance from teachers
Hmm.
helped me do well in these exams.
Okay. So, sir, right now you mentioned that you wanted to go in finances. So I
Yes.
want to know, like, then why IIT and IIM you already cleared me that
Yes.
it was your parents, especially your father's dream. But then suddenly why UPSC? Like you already had a great career ahead of you. You wanted to go into finances. You could have with MBA. So why UPSC?
So I think so my original intent was so how kids they are brought up. You see, the career choices, whether it's people around them
Hmm.
or they get it through movies, entertainment, and those things. So my inclination towards finance was because I know a few relatives who are into that field,
Okay.
and also there are so many movies glorifying the finances, especially the investment banking and capital markets.
Right.
And we've always heard from childhood that these are people who have very high intelligence. So
Hmm.
somehow I wanted to be in the sector so that even I can be labeled as an intelligent person.
Hmm.
And during my internship, however, the MBA internship, I got to really work in the field.
Hmm.
And then I realized that all the glamour and the glitter is just
Hmm.
from the outside.
Right.
And you're working for something that is so minute in the grand scheme of things
Hmm.
that even if it does well, you just be happy and then you can't tell 10 people about it that what you did and how does it contribute to the larger good. So I
Right.
felt that connect was missing. But then I got in touch. So my parents were always, pushing me for the government services. And then I thought, okay, let's try that. And that is obviously the government service, public administration, and what it can do for the larger good.
Hmm.
That's undeniable. So yeah, that's how I went into this.
Okay. And like every passing year, mostly I think the aspirants who are from BTech background are clearing UPSC in a major chunk. And earlier, though, I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but पहले शायद CSAT was included in your prelims total marks, but now it's just a qualifying paper.
Yes.
So it's not, I don't know, but does it give that much edge to the aspirants who are from BTech background? Or what is it like? Why the aspirants who are mostly from BTech are clearing this exam as compared to those from humanities and other background who are not? Especially when they start off their preparation or they choose a subject thinking that they will go for UPSC, but it doesn't happen with BTech students. But still, they struggle, and BTech are clearing it out. Even though now a CSAT is not, मतलब उतना अब hold नहीं करता marks. So why? What's your theory about it?
Well, there are three reasons that immediately come to mind. First is the pattern of the exam.
Okay.
Second is the nature of the students based on their graduation background. And then third, I would just say is a matter of chance. People are just adapting to it slowly or quickly. So the first point is that the nature of the exam. So as you said, that CSAT was earlier part of the scoring pattern where
Right.
you get the marks on the general studies and the CSAT, and both were combined to decide the cutoff.
Right.
Right now, CSAT is not a part of that, but I will still say the nature of the prelims question is such that it rewards risk taking, it rewards analytical ability. Whereas when you can figure out that three options are wrong, or all the three of them could be wrong if one of the facts is slightly questioned, then those kind of abilities you get. So then we come to the second point, the nature of the graduation background.
Right.
Now, I don't know, I have a tech background, but I don't know how it goes on in the other fields. But during engineering, we are taught, and we also get to practice that last moment things, that you find shortcuts to study. You start preparing on the last day and find critical gap in a certain question. Like, we don't get troubled with questions like you have to do 100 questions in 3 hours and those things. We get 3 or 4 questions, especially in IT. We get 3 or 4 questions, and you have to solve them for 2 hours. And then there are some critical tricks. So the nature of the engineering curriculum is such that it grooms you for an analytical set of questions.
Right.
And prelims are these days such like you, even with the best preparation, when you go into the exam, you can at best mark 30 questions correctly.
Right.
After that, it's all about risk. Like, you have to eliminate options, and somehow engineers are good at that. Somehow they are good at calculating that if I eliminate 2 options and then I'm left with the 2 and I take a random guess, even that will make me, let's say I took to do that for 50 questions.
Right.
So I'll at least get 25 correct, and I'll get 25 wrong. That gives me a net 17 correct questions. So somehow that training during the graduation helps in this kind of exam. Although CSAT is not a part of the scoring, but it does create a difference.
Right. It's still a qualifying paper, and I think both our students are struggling to even get that much. Then,
and engineering background students have already appeared in. So nowadays we have a common university entrance test. So before that, much before that, AI, EEE, IIT, JEE, and now the JEE Main and Advanced. So engineering students are used to the OMR and the objective question type.
Questions,
so
right?
That also helps.
Okay, and now, sir, let's talk about your optional subject.
Yes.
Like, it was earlier, first you chose public administration and then switched to electrical engineering.
Yes.
Yeah. So why and how? Kindly explain. Because the public administration, I think it's a common subject. बहुत सारे students लेते हैं apart from sociology. But electrical engineering is not that common, and you have a background in that. But still, I think you chose public administration first and then switched to electrical engineering. So why?
So in terms of electrical engineering, why I did not choose it earlier is that at least in IIT, I can tell you that the exam syllabus, the curriculum, everything is decided by the professor who's taking that course. So let's say there are 10 topics that are expected to be covered, but the professor is researching on some different topic. In that course, he'll cover that research topic. He'll do some 3 or 4 topics of the old syllabus, and that is it. He decides the question paper, and it's more focused on new things. But the UPSC syllabus, sadly, is not about innovative things that are different for different colleges. It's a standard syllabus. So a lot of, at least 50% of the syllabus I had not studied at all during my graduation. I was not exposed to it at all.
Okay.
And electrical engineering that gets asked in UPSC is a mix of electronics and power. And I was mostly electronics. So you can see the power engineering was completely unknown to me. So that's why I chose public administration. It also aligned well with the other general studies subjects like GS 1 and 2 and ethics as well. So you can see there was some bit of history, political history, and then there's political science and administration, and there's administration and ethics. So aligned well with that, and also that basic theories, the paper 1 of public administration I had already covered during MBA to a large extent. What is administration, what is management, and management theories and all. So I felt that at the time it was a good choice, but then it didn't turn out well. So I switched to electrical, and then so it was not as if I made the switch and suddenly I cleared. So I appeared in 2022 as well. So I failed that year miserably. And after that, I prepared again and did some fine tuning and then got in.
And then you got AIR 20. So was it expected? I when you when the results came out, I think Neha, I'm sure I talked to you. So that time I don't know how you described your feeling, but if you could share with us right now, like was AIR 20 in your mind? Like you thought you'll get in the top 20s or
Ah, so so since I had qualified JE and CAT in the first attempt,
hmm,
so when I was appearing in my first attempt in 2020 exam, so
right.
at that time I had this feeling after the result, like before the result, that if not me, then who? So
Mhm.
that arrogance was there at the time. But after being humbled 3 times, I
Okay.
had zero expectations this time. And forget rank 20, I had no expectations about selection as well. And I was not thinking about it. I was like, okay, it's a mechanical process, 100 rupees entrance fees, give
Hmm,
it the exam, just wait for the results. So the rank was not at all expected. The selection was not at all expected.
hmm,
But I felt that I had done well in at least one of the papers in electrical engineering.
hmm,
When the marks came out, I realized that I had not done it well in that paper. And the
hmm,
paper which I felt that I had completely bombed
hmm.
was the one that was responsible for the selection ultimately.
Which paper?
So paper two of electrical engineering, so paper one, I thought that I had done miserably,
Mhm.
and then I got more marks in paper one. Paper two, I felt as if I was writing my 10th class exam,
Okay.
and I got very less marks in that. But
Okay.
overall, I did well. So you never know, and this exam is so unpredictable that you never know what gets scaled up, what gets scaled down, how
Right.
was the evaluator that day.
Mhm.
So nothing is known.
Even though you had cleared and you were already in one of the services, still it doesn't give you that confidence that you will clear it again.
Yeah, so UPSC does not work in a linear or a unidirectional way that if you prepare
Right.
more, you get more marks.
Mhm.
Or if you had cleared some stages before, then you might start from there. I know people. So in my first attempt, I got to the interviews. Second, I got the rank. Third attempt, I did not get a interview call.
Mhm.
And I also know people who were applying with me they were already in service and did not clear prelims.
Right.
So it resets, and every attempt you start from zero, except for the preparation. The
Right.
things that you memorize,
Mhm.
but everything else it resets to zero.
Right. Okay. And now, sir, coming to the interview stage. Last time when we talked, you told me that diplomatic answers don't fetch you good marks in UPSC interviews. So if you can, tell the aspirants that how could they balance honesty and clarity of opinion while giving a good answer in the interview round, because it decides your rank, I guess, the marks you get in interviews. So how can be they can give good marks with clarity of thought?
First of all, the importance of interview, as you've underlined, is cannot be overstated, because you might go through the rank list even during the year that I qualified, and there are people who scored more than me
Hmm.
in the written exam, but
Hmm.
their rank wise they're behind me. And
Right.
then there are people who have scored less than me in the written and have more interview marks. So ultimately, it comes down to all the papers are important, but the interview is more important, because you get 30 minutes for it, and it decides 275 marks.
Right.
Secondly, about the interview, what I said was the diplomatic answers. So the time for writing diplomatic answers is in the main exam.
Hmm.
But when you appear in front of interview, it's not a peer panel, it's not a test of knowledge. So
Right.
they ask some probing questions initially about every field. For example, let's say education. They'll ask you, have you read the national education policy?
Hmm.
And they'll ask, what are the broad goals? That is just to test whether you actually know something about that field. And
Right.
then they'll ask a question that answer which they require is specific to you. They want to know what you think about it, not what the media thinks about it, what the intellectuals think about it, what was there in the report. So when you're giving that answer, don't be diplomatic, because we're not diplomatic by design. We take a side, and then
Right.
you describe why you have taken a side,
Hmm.
give reasons, and then you can also give the counter side. But in the interview, let's say you get asked a question, you have at most 30, 40 seconds to answer that. If you answer for more than that, then it's too long and they might doze off and they
Right.
might forget what you started with. So you
Right.
have a short time, and in that short time, you cannot give diplomatic answers. You have to give what you think.
Think actually.
Now, in order to condition what you think should be logical and legal and beneficial for the society, practice. Because you're already very nervous in the interview. You can practice a lot, but you'll still be very nervous. So, what answer comes to the mind,
Hmm.
that can be conditioned by practice. So, you can think about certain topics in a certain way. Even if you don't feel very strongly about it, you
Hmm.
can condition yourself by practice.
Right. Okay. And now, when you look back at your entire preparation cycle, there is there any mistake which you would want any other aspirant to avoid, or any habit they must build to sustain long-term preparation because it requires a lot of time?
Well, mistakes are plenty. Uh, the first attempt that I gave was after I had practiced just one or two tests. Writing, of course, prelims, I had no issues.
Mm-hmm.
So writing a lot more tests, that is what I think would have given me more marks in the written exam.
Right.
And I would have cleared well in the first attempt as well. Second is choosing an optional very wisely. So don't just go about what people say. So people said PubAd is good, and I also felt that it will align well. But for a lot of time, for a very long period of time, since I think 2016, 2015, the average marks in PubAd have been dropping, and the selection rate has also been dropped. So just look at the numbers as well.
Right.
Engineering and mathematics, these optionals will have that kind of risk factor that you can get very high marks, you can get very low marks.
Right.
PubAd will not disappoint you with very low marks, but it will not please you with very high marks as well.
Right.
So that subject, so choosing an optional is based on how much you can do in the GS. I couldn't do much, so for me, electrical engineering was a better optional.
Right.
There was at least a chance of getting very high marks. And thirdly is forming a routine. So I would study based on what I felt like. That आज history पढ़ना है, मन कर रहा है तो आज history पढ़ेंगे, एक हफ्ते history पढ़ ली. It does not work that way. You study all the subjects because all the subjects and based on their weightage.
Right.
So some people might think that they have an interest in geography and then they'll study up and down and what is below the earth, what is up to the sky, and those things. Those are not important. Geography as a whole may not have the same weightage compared to political science,
Right.
or compared to Indian economy, or compared to ethics case studies. And the least amount of time is what people give is to the ethics case studies, which is where you get the highest number of marks. And even less weightage is given to essay. I did not write any essay in my first attempt, which was a huge blunder, because the essays again. So the reason why I got selected this time was my very high marks in essay and optional. So you decide what is good for you and what is happening in the rest of the world. How are people qualifying this exam? And you'll see the common trend is essay, optional, and ethics.
Right.
You give 60% of your time to this and 40% to the remaining subjects. So that is where, these things should be kept in mind while preparing.
Okay, and so now when you mentioned essay, how do you prepare for essay? Like, madam, do you shortlist the topics and then practice it? Like, what's the way to prepare essay? I know it's often ignored, and like you just said, it can give you good marks. I asked another topper also, and she also said that ethics and essay are most ignored. But if you give time to that, it can help you in cracking the exam.
Yeah.
So, how do you prepare for essay?
Yeah. So first of all, there is this romanticized version of an essay that you write flowery language, you write poems, and you introduce with flowery quotes and everything, and then essays are purely for some people it might work, but not a lot of us are gifted in the English literature department. So essay is a purely mechanical thing. Essay is a long set of arguments to express your viewpoint about a certain topic with some counterpoints. That is it. A long written argument for proving something that you believe in. So that is key. So you have so all the essay topics these days are mostly philosophical, which I feel are the easiest ones to write. Because once you get a essay topic in a certain subject like agriculture, India's Green Revolution 2.0, or you get something about farmer suicides, then you need very specific information. But when there's a philosophical topic like wisdom finds truth or something like that, you can write about anything. You can write about historical things, you can write about economic, political, administrative, you can write about anything.
Right.
So I think after, let's say, 60% of your preparation is complete, when you've prepared about ethics, when you've prepared about history, you have prepared about public administration, you read the newspapers daily, you have some financial and economic this knowledge, you can start writing essays and you can connect the topic to these essays. And I think every week, if you write one essay and then you compare with some of the copies that are available online for the people who have qualified. And again, that's a piece of advice, that you please study the last year, the people who have qualified their copies only for the year in which they qualified.
Right.
Because even so, I say this with personal experience, my test copies are there online and they're completely absurd in the years that I've not qualified.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so, coming back to the essay, so you connect it to those fields, and PESTEL is the best friend: political, economic, social, technological. And one of the toppers in 2018 or 2019, he advised that you must include the administrative angle in the essay. We are all writing this exam for the civil services, and keeping the administrative angle in the essay makes it look like, yes, this person is really interested in administration and wants to be a civil servant. Otherwise, you're just writing about history, polity, and those things. That is good. That can also fetch marks. And always, I think, starting with a story, like how does the topic connect to the story? Now, coming to how to prepare for essay, well, there are multiple resources available online. You can watch videos of various institutes which discuss the past year's question papers, and you'll get a fair idea of what is expected in an essay. It's not a romanticized something like you flowery language or anything. It's a purely mechanical process. There are clear formulas. After every 2 paragraphs, you have to rewrite the name of the topic so that you can show that you're sticking to the topic, even if you're not. So it's completely mechanical.
Right. Okay. Okay. Got it, sir. So it's about your preparation journey and everything. Now that you are in your probation time and you have already completed your training at LBSNAA, how has been these past years as an IAS officer being trained? What is your experience right now?
Well, again, to be frank, I did not have this notion of, life will suddenly change or something. My parents still look at me the same way. They still talk to me the same way. Yes, there are a lot of people who would want to be friends with me, who want to make contacts with me. But I've realized this for a very long time, that it's the post. They don't want to be friends with me. They want to be friends with the post.
Right.
So I was the same person earlier too, and nobody contacted me.
Right.
So the result changed that, but apart from that, the training is very nice. So the academy in Mussoorie and at the state academy, the training is very nice. You actually get trained for specific subjects. For example, in the IAS, people think that we are generalists and all that. That aside, the core part thing that an IAS officer needs to know is about land revenue, public order, elections, and government schemes.
Right.
So in those 4 things, the training is very nice. And then you get to meet a lot of people who have themselves qualified the exams. Some people in the first attempt, some people like me in the fourth, some people even more. And then you realize that there's a frequency, there's this clear distribution that, the arrogance that I had in my first attempt, I can find that. And then the humility then that comes with giving more attempts, failing quite often, and then the people around us have so many great ideas that they want to implement in the public administration field, that they have ideas ranging from agriculture sector to space sector to what all and what not. So it's a very good experience. But once you come to the district, it gets quite lonely because none of your batchmates are there. Of course, collector and CDO and SP and all these senior officers, they're there for supporting you. But so the training gets slightly more hands-on in the field, and you get to interact with the people in the villages, people in the cities. You get to see how rural administration functions. All these ideas that I had during writing my public administration now appear so absurd I had this, okay, there will be this structure, there'll be proper meetings, there'll be proper documentation. And you realize that documentation comes when people ask for it, otherwise it's just there. So a lot of theoretical things which just remain on the books. And then a lot of new practical things, are new solutions that a lot of villages here in Maharashtra have some innovative things. For example, in UP, so I don't have much knowledge about rest of UP, but my village, the property tax and those things are almost unheard of. But here in Maharashtra, property tax collections are very high. People are aware that they have to pay taxes if they want government services, and they do it. So, and it's I can sense a sense of innovation in the local village revenue officers and village development officers, and the amount of work the administration has put in to convince the people to pay taxes. All these things we don't find in the textbooks or in the training academy. When you get to the field, you get to see it. So it's been very pleasant. Yeah.
Okay. And sir, one thing that you didn't expect would be the part of training in LBSNAA, but was, and you enjoyed it a lot.
Well, the physical rigor, I will say that I had not expected that. I mean, I'm not in the police service. I did not expect to be moved around a lot. But there were treks on the weekend. There were regular physical exercises every morning. And you have to rush to the training ground and then back from it and then back to the classes. So I did not expect that kind of physical rigor there.
Okay.
Mentally, I was prepared because I already had talked to people about these aspects of training. They never mentioned about the physical rigor. So that was a bit surprising, yeah.
And during your preparation phase, what was your biggest stress buster?
I think we talked about this earlier. It's the exams don't scare me. It's the results that that I care about. Stress comes from thinking about things too much. After my first attempt, which I failed, I cut off people who were just adding no value but posing questions that used to create stress. So that is one thing. So a lot of people try to add a lot of things to remove stress. I think removing certain things is also important. So you cut down on interaction of people who will just spread all the negativity. Oh, so sad. Oh, how could you not qualify? Oh, so those things. Second is talk if you're blessed with the greatest thing on this planet, that is grandparents. You talk to them and you'll feel like the king of the world. There's in your grandparents' eyes, you are the master of the world. You've already done a lot of things. So that's the biggest stress busters. Right. And then your the kids of your cousins and those nieces and nephews, you talk to them. The biggest stress busters.
Okay. And if you have to say UPSC preparation was a movie, which phase of your journey would be the climax? Or if let me make it easy, अगर UPSC को आप एक फिल्म में देखना चाहो, your UPSC journey, so what movie you think is justified, like it is similar to your UPSC preparation?
You pick up any boring movie in which nothing happens and then suddenly something happens. Because as I said, I had no struggle at all. Okay. Everything was well taken care of. Okay. I did not have moments of such extreme anxiety or stress that I said, okay, this is it. I quit. I don't want to do anything. Right. A very boring movie where you have everything right going for you except for the results in a few years. And all the nicest people in the world, they're backing you up and vouching for you. I mean, yeah, no such dramatic thing or something like this. Something broke and then I realized, okay, I should go into this service, or something magical just struck me and okay, I did so well in the interviews, or electrical engineering.
Nothing.
Yeah, boring movie.
Okay, so I can say if any director wants to make a movie on you, like after you have served, so they won't include your preparation part because it won't be that interesting.
It is not at all interesting.
Yeah. Maybe Maybe you'll have some action in the later years when you join the service.
So if through my work I can do something of that sort,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And sir, if you have to describe now, not the movie, but if you have to describe your UPSC journey in just 3 words, what would it be?
Well, I'd say tenacity, because you have to stick around. Like some people are gifted; they'll do it in the first attempt. But if you don't, then stick around. And second, I think, is support. Like, please identify an alternative career choice
Right.
if you are having financial or other difficulties. I did not have that, yet I had always had a alternative career in mind. So when I left my finance and consulting, so I had a few job offers in after IIM as well. So they had told me that you can come back whenever you want. So I had that backup option. So always keep that backup option. That reduces stress.
Okay.
And third thing I think is optimism. Like, you please be hopeful. You don't prepare out of desperation. Prepare out of aspiration.
Right.
So you don't prepare as if okay, if this doesn't work,
This is
then
the end
what
of
will
the
I do? This is the end of the world. Be aspirational. There are a lot of things. There's life outside UPSC preparation. Be hopeful about things. And even if you don't qualify this exam eventually, there are a lot of things that you have learned through the process and which will be helpful in life as well.
Okay. And lastly, one small habit during your preparation that you think made a difference.
I used to go through the syllabus almost every week, because as I mentioned earlier, engineering students, they have this lazy habit of bare minimum preparation. So how do you prepare bare minimum? You just stick to the syllabus.
Okay.
There are a lot of things that people have an idea that this might get asked in UPSC, that might get asked in UPSC, but eventually it's the syllabus. And there are some terms in the syllabus that and other issues of national importance and other issues of something.
Right.
But even those questions, even if you don't attempt, that is fine. But reading the syllabus and knowing what is important for the exam really helped me, because it helped me cut out on a lot of content which is available online but is not really useful.
Right. Okay. Okay, sir. So on that note, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So this was Mr. Akash Verma. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. To listen to more such interesting conversations with IAS and IPS officers and know the news from bureaucracy, please like and subscribe Indian Masterminds. Till then, stay tuned and stay curious. Thank you for watching.